This is Ikeja GRA. Today, Ikeja GRA suddenly seems reserved only in name.
Where should we start from?
The situation in the GRA now calls for attention.
We don't have gutters. The gutters are blocked.
All the drainages are blocked. So when you have 3 trucks of junk, these are huge bags in the drainage. Who's putting it there? How did it get there?
We don't have power.
Electricity supply does not exist. In this small place, you have a 40 kV generator, you have a backup generator, and you have a backup of a backup.
We don't have security.
I don't feel that sense of safety anymore. I do not see my children walking on the streets of GRA. It won't happen.
We don't have street lights. Our roads are bad. They're really, really, really bad.
The roads were not designed for heavy vehicles. A lot of heavy vehicles troop into the GRA. They've destroyed the road now. There's hardly any single motorable road again in the entire GRA today.
All the roads, I cannot mention that there is a single road in GRA now. That is good.
The potholes are becoming craters. And I look at the other lane and I notice when people come, when they want to get in the pothole, they squeeze their face. I feel sorry for my car sometimes.
We are exposed in many ways.
The porosity has become unbearable to us.
In GRA, you could say who was who. You could almost identify whose cook is walking down the road, whose steward that is. A stranger would stand out like a sore thumb. If you didn't drive, GRA was not for you. It was serene, beautiful, and the level of security. My father kept on saying, but this is a completely noiseless zone. That was what attracted him, because he was a professor of education, and therefore, he was academic. And I look back at the GRA then. We didn't have a fence. My parents didn't have a fence. It was just the plants that were growing that demarcated one house from the other. There was no problem. No burglar proof on the property itself, and they felt very secure.
Sopo Arobiod, for instance, used to be a very nice place. Or back in Jobi end, to the roundabout there, we used to have Kingsway there. Kingsway stores with lift. You have to take the lift up, and down this road, just at the beginning of Sopo Arobiod, where we have also, we also have here at our beginning, 11th is here.
GRA in those days used to have motorable roads to start with. The drainage system is excellent in the sense that there was not so much pressure on the land, so it had what could be regarded as natural drain. Without even constructing any drainage, it drains itself automatically. And in those days, also, the safety was unparalleled. People were able to jog all around the GRA without anybody mugging them, without any fear for their safety. And beyond that, we had much more relatively stable power supply within GRA during that period. And generally, again, it was largely populated by residents. So that was the kind of GRA that I met, and it was highly serene in those days.
Well, I'm going back to the 70s. It has been really good. I remember GRA being very quiet, nice, friendly, walking around with my friends, starting off at Oduduwa Way, Crescent, walking all the way to Reverend Ogubi, and just having fun.
Where should we start from? Challenges in GRA, it's different. The GRA of today, and now, you know, there's no excuse to be given. GRA of today actually reflects some of the things that we say the environment of today has made us to now start thinking that, is it the norm? It is a new normal? Or is it because of some deliberate neglect by some of the people we call our leaders? So, where do we start from? You want to talk about the road network that is totally a mess, you know, or the flooding, which shouldn't have been one of the things that the founders of GRA ever thought was possible, because of the detail that that GRA had to go through before the environment was created. You know, all these things have been eroded. Is it the security that I talked about the first time when we thought GRA was the dream place? GRA is so porous. Everything is allowed in GRA. Night life is no more a desire of anybody in GRA. Raising children in GRA has become a major challenge because the environment is now toxic. The environment is just not communal anymore. The environment is dirty. Everything is allowed in GRA today. We don't even know our neighbors anymore. Unlike before, when you know that in GRA, you know who is next to you. You know what that person does. You know, you just see, black spot around you, and you see a lot of danger.
See, I'll just cut you like a few. Yes, now. Why? You are a thief. You know you thief.
Adekunle Fajuyi Way, a lot of the roads off it now, you see marwas, the tricycles, they are parked there. You see abandoned vehicles. Even the place now is like you have mechanics, you have street traders selling, not what, tom, things like that, and then you see them down, you see cats going all over the place, and then you now see a pile up of filth. When you pass through Adekunle Fajuyi, the place has become a refuse dump. 2 days ago I was driving past and I looked at the drainage. It's covered with refuse, it's covered with refuse. And even on our Odudua Crescent, you have refuse all over the place. And then we have we want people to build new houses. But the point is, you see the road, all the sand, all the stones will be poured on the road, on the road. And all the roads, I cannot mention that there is a single road in GRA now. That is good. That you don't have, you are dancing as you are moving along the road with your vehicle. And the drainages are not cleared. It's very disheartening,
For us at Jackie's Place, especially during the rains, it's a nightmare. You know that we have toddlers, we have children under 4. You can't, for me as an adult, when I'm walking around, when I have to come out of the car, the water is right up to almost to my knees. I have rain boots that I wear, and even with my rain boots, I have to be very careful because if I mistake a step, water is going to come in. So that gives you a picture of how high the floods come up.
Nowadays, it's as if NEPA does not exist. Electricity supply does not exist. You have to be self-sufficient. In this small place, we have a generator. You have a 40 kVA generator, you have a backup generator, and you have a backup of a backup. And I'm not manufacturing. So you can imagine how bad the level of electricity is.
Of land that is just there in GRA. And the owners, they just put maybe 1 or 2 security men there. They in turn start renting the place out. They start having people come in and sleep at night for maybe 500 naira per head, and they turn the place to a shanty town. We've discovered some, but whenever we go after them and we ask for support from our enforcement agencies, it is always like a lukewarm approach, and it's always a very short span. You notice within a few days, these people are back. There's quite a few of them, and those are the black spots that we go. And there was one they went recently. It was a makeshift room for prostitutes. When that business goes on, all kinds of miscreants and all kinds of other people are involved.
Well, first and foremost, I'd be much happier if we can revert to where we were before. And one of the ways that we are struggling with to enthrone that is to make it a gated estate.
The residents and also the government have to come in partnership, specifically on this drainage issue. There are a few roads that have drainage. We visited yesterday again. All the drainages are blocked.
We need to have controlled movement, within GRA, so that the environment is clean, the environment is healthy, people can walk around in the evenings without being afraid.
The security, something must be done about it.
We are lucky to have security agents around us. There's a way government can arrange it and make them useful also to the GRA. We have the cantonment, we have the police college, we have the police station, we have the Lagos State Police Command. We should be very well secured, but it has to be organized by some people, and there's nobody that can do that other than the government itself.
We need an urgent intervention. Because this is about the future. It's about the new or the next generation.
I'd like to see a GRA that is a little bit more peaceful.
We need to know the people who are moving around here, who are moving so that if you are not meant to be here, you can be easily identified.
Infrastructure, we expect that at least, there is a common understanding with the other residents or inhabitants.
As we are modernizing, the modernization should give us more comfort, not disrupting our lives.
I like to see a real government reserved area.
Where we don't have miscreants loafing around the roads. Where you don't have truck pushers.
Where GRA sits at the corner or the heart of a state that believes the treasure of GRA Ikeja must be restored.
An area where children can be free to play. Every parent wants their child to be outdoors, to have an enriched life, go to school, come back and play.
An environment that is quite, standardized internationally.
Summarily, we want to see the reverse of the aberrations. In other words, where we were before, the picture I painted earlier on of the GRA that I met on ground before the invasion within the GRA. For example, I said I want to see good roads, a good road network within GRA, a secured environment, an environmentally friendly GRA, where we have a lot of greens as we used to have before, a good drainage system that will be there, and lightning. Street lightning is very important to us within the GRA too. Again, I want a situation where the physical planning and the town planning laws of the state are able to be enforced.